All right, we're going to be continuing with our Agent Spotlight series today. Today we got Rod Charest with us. Really, this series is focusing on the agents in our company, so our clients and potential clients have the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. So you've been doing this for 7 years now, about right?
Yep, this is my seventh year.
Okay, yep. So I've gotten to know you over the past few years, and we've been pretty close friends. You're now part of the senior agent panel here at Missouri and Associates, and you're actually been the top producing agent for the past 2 years. So, anything else you want to add before we dive right into the questions here?
Yeah, so just a little bit of background on me. You know me obviously, but I grew up here in Auburn, Maine. I live in Lisbon now with my wife and two of our kids. So I've got three kids altogether. One is kind of adult at this point.
Yeah.
And then we got 12 and 10 at home, Bryson and Ella. And they keep us pretty busy, with our lives, as you know. So, but yeah, I guess that's just in a nutshell, kind of a little bit about me.
Cool. Yeah. All right, so we'll dive right into the questions now. And we're asking these questions to all our agents, so it's a great way to really kick this off. What is it that you like most about being a real estate agent?
I guess that's kind of tough. There's a lot I like about it. You know, some of the main points I would say is that it's kind of always changing, always evolving. Not every day is the same. I meet with different people on a daily basis. I come across different situations and trying to help people navigate through some challenging situations at times. So that's some of the biggest stuff. I get to help people, achieve their goal, whether it be selling a property or buying something, for their future.
I think we've talked about that too a lot of times where one of the funnest things is it's never the same. Like there are things that are the same, but every day could be different based off of what's thrown at you. So
Right. Yeah. And that's what keeps it, exciting and kind of interesting, I guess. It's hard to get bored in this business, because you never know what's around the next corner.
yeah.
So
Boring would be nice at times.
yes, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you're like, I really wish it would slow down a little
Yeah.
bit, or I'd be a little bored. But then, it's just great to be, doing something that I'm in charge of my own destiny, and my success is based upon what I put into it.
For sure, yeah, and you're definite, example of that from rising to being our top producing agent the past couple of years. So you really can get out of what you put into this business. So especially when you treat your clients right and just work hard. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
So we'll change gears a little bit here. What is something that your clients may not know about you?
I guess so. Obviously, right now, as you know, I have no hair. I'm completely bald. But that wasn't always the case, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I used to have quite a head of hair back when I was, in like the late grade school, middle school days. I had shoulder length hair and
Had the flow going.
had a good flow going.
Yeah.
Was really into kind of like rock and heavy metal, and I thought I was going to be in a band someday.
Nice.
So that was kind of my whole thing. I wore concert T-shirts every day and looked the part. But yeah, I had the long hair and like you said, I had a good flow going. I mean, I even went as far to get a perm at one point.
No way.
Yep,
Nice.
yeah, because I wanted to have that nice,
The glow.
voluminous hair.
Yeah.
So some people know that about me. Obviously, people that I went to school with and grew up with. But that's something that not a lot of people would probably know or guess based
Yeah.
upon how I look now.
For sure, we might try and Photoshop some more back down. So did you lose that over the past 7 years being in real estate, or is that just that happened well before that?
Well, before that, I unfortunately had the genetics where it was happening at an early age. So it just got to the point where I was just like, well, I'm just gonna get rid of all of it, I guess.
Yeah, time to pull the trigger. Yeah. Well, I'm on my way too, so I feel you there. So, cool. So, did you have a career before real estate, and if so, talk about them a little bit, and then kind of dive into how some of those skills translated to helping you in what you do now as a real estate agent.
Yeah. So I actually had quite a long career. So I went I went to college in New Hampshire for athletic training, so to work with athletes and injuries and treatment and things like that. So, I worked in the local community here at a couple different places in varying degrees, but basically I worked with people, whether it be high school athletes or whether it be people who are just patients dealing with musculoskeletal injuries, and helping them recover from that. Also help with prevention of injuries and doing the rehab and stuff like that. So I did that for like 19 years, so quite a while.
Yeah.
Before doing this. So with that, I obviously had to work very closely with not only patients every day, but also other providers, doctors, case managers, because I did work with some work-related injury stuff as well. So it just taught me how to, work with different types of people, and established, communication skills. And also, again, when you work with different types of people, there's obviously different, forms of communication and different levels of communication,
Sure.
So some of it's educating, someone who comes in with an injury, obviously sort of giving them the background of, what's going on, explaining it, and then how we're going to treat it and get it better and what the healing process is like.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still communicating a process to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, designing a way to help them get better, and whether it be putting certain exercises together that or to target that area, or, conditioning to get back to whether it be a sport or get back out to work, because I did a lot of occupational work as well. So it just, helped me sort of establish communication skills and sort of how to navigate, different situations with different people, which
Sure.
is pretty similar to, real estate.
Yeah, for sure. And I also imagine just thinking, being in this world also, it's like you had the opportunity to be in front of a lot of people too, which I'm sure you were able to, build some relationships even in that phase of your life that could translate to people knowing what you do now and helping them through that process now too. So
Yeah. I mean, I still interact. I mean, actually one of my very first listings was from a former client, in my past, career. So, but yeah, I've definitely come across people, and it's good to interact with them on this level too, and already have that sort of rapport built up, which is very helpful.
Sure, and I think it also shows a level of respect for they knew you knew what you were doing with what you did prior to real estate, so I'm sure they naturally thought that you could make a transition to real estate and help them through that process just as well as you knew that process. So
Yep.
Cool. Anything else? How about was it after that? Was that really your transition to real estate?
Yeah, because that's what I did for 19 years, so quite a long time. So I guess other than what I did for summer jobs in college and high school work, but that's pretty much what I've done.
Cool. So one other thing I want to mention that I think, just knowing you, what about your coaching and just like your, I know you've coached, you've helped coach your son and also high school, and I think that also translates to the competitive side of trying to reach goals in real estate and still coaching somebody through a process and having patience with kids and all of that. So
yeah, like you said. So I coached my oldest son Aiden, basically from first grade up till he went to middle school, and then one of the other reasons I wanted to get in real estate is because I wanted some flexibility. I wanted to coach high school football, which I did do. I did for 2 years at Lisbon, and we won a state championship one year, which is really cool. But that gave me, being in this field, it gave me the opportunity to explore, another interest that I had and see what that was about.
Nice.
Yeah, and now I did that for 2 years, and now I'm back to coaching the little kids again. So I coach my other son Bryson's football team for the last couple of years, and that's kind of like, throughout the years doing it for both children, I've interacted with a lot of different people in the community, helping other kids, evolve in the sports, whether it be basketball or football. And I find that pretty rewarding, because football for me was, very important in my life. And I think a huge piece of where I am today and why it just taught me a lot of things about teamwork and commitment and, working on a goal and trying to achieve goals that you have. So for me, that's a great way to kind of give my passion back to other kids, the love of game that I have.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of touches on our last question, which is the community involvement piece. So I know we touched a little bit on that for coaching and stuff. Is there anything else that you want to share that you're involved in community and?
Right now, I'm on the local real estate board, so with that we do things some community outreach, and we have some things planned for the upcoming year. So I'm excited about that, and just trying to get a little bit more involved, outside of the sports world, and do some other stuff in the community.
Cool. Yeah, and that is a great same thing. It's another great resource for you to interact with other agents from different companies, and also still be involved in the community and give back. So
Yep.
It's a great place to network as well. So great. Well, is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap this up, or?
I guess. So another thing that real estate has got me into is my wife and I we're in house flipping now. So,
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're on our second one in the last not even year at this point. So, so for me that kind of blends some other things I like to do, because I do have some background. Like growing up, I did some construction work and stuff like that. So I have a decent knowledge base on there. But it's been a good tool for us to sort of do something together, and obviously grow our real estate portfolio and our experience. So
yeah, for sure. And I think that's what's exciting about the kickoff of this series is I can imagine we're going to do some more series about potentially just focusing on your flipping process.
Yeah.
And some different avenues that we can talk about for that too. So cool. Well, thanks for coming, and we're looking forward to doing more of these for sure.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.